Hey guys, welcome to today's video. If you're new to my channel, hello. I am Suzana and today I'm just going to do like a little get ready with me. I have some new makeup which I have not had a chance to try out yet, so we are going to be doing a few first impressions. Besides that, I'm going to be pulling out some other products that I've been enjoying as of late. Now, a few of the products that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, which I'm very excited about, is the new bronzer from Victoria Beckham, and I also picked up a few pieces from the Bobbi Brown Glowing Pink collection. So this is a limited edition collection, though a few of the products already exist within the Bobbi Brown line, but one of the products that I do have to share with you guys today is straight limited edition. So just a little FYI, of course I will give you guys all the details as we go through the products. So before I get started, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and go ahead and give me that like, which I would very much appreciate as it does help out with boosting some views. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the makeup. Alright, so I already went ahead and applied some primer. Today I used my Sisley Double Tenseur. I need to use this guy more. I mean, I do love it, but because it was so expensive, I was just not using it as often because I don't know, I guess I decided to only use it for special occasions, but I need to stop it with that. I just need to stop it. I don't go anywhere anyway, and I've had this for quite some time, so I'm afraid it might go bad on me. Yeah, I need to keep using that. All right, so as far as foundation, I'm going to use this from Monica Blunder. I have two shades of these just because these are advertised to be used both as a concealer and as a foundation. Personally, I prefer these products as a foundation only. I feel like they're a little bit too thick to use as a concealer, although you can sheer out the coverage if you want to. These are a very buildable type of products, so you can go from sheer to almost a full coverage, definitely like a medium full. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I like these, but still for under the eyes, I didn't care too much for them. So the shades I have are 3 and 4. So I'll go ahead and use both of them, but I'm mostly going to use 4 because I feel like that's what works for me a little bit better right now. So let me dip into 3 first. And I actually bought the brush for this and it's really nice, but I didn't bring it down with me and I don't feel like hunting for it right now. But look at how good of a coverage this gives. So I'm really just going to apply this on the center of my face, and then I'll go in with the deeper shade. As I'm sure y'all can tell, this is a little bit too light for me. So I'm gonna move on to number 4. And I'll apply this on the rest of the face and kind of overlap here a little bit as well, where I need more coverage anyway. And yeah, this blends really nicely and I like how this foundation wears, so I've really been enjoying it. Honestly, I haven't heard anybody else talk about this foundation, so let me know if you've tried it. What do you guys think, or if you have any questions about it? But yeah, I've been really liking this. And there's the coverage. I think it's really good. I do have like a really bad scar right here, so that's going to be quite difficult for me to cover up. I am going to try to with a little bit of concealer, which I'm actually going to apply right now. This is my Correcteur from Chanel. And I like this shade because it's not too brightening, so it actually works pretty well to use around my face to do a little bit of concealing. And I also like this for my under eyes, but I'm not going to use this one today because I've really been enjoying this one from Tarte. It's their Ultra Creamy Shape Tape, and yeah, this is way better than their original. So I'm going to apply some of this. Now I do have dark circles, so I do go in a little bit heavy, but if you don't, honestly, you really don't need to apply that much of this. So I do have a new powder I want to use, but I feel like this is going to be a brightening powder. So before I get into that, I'm going to apply a little bit of my Huda Beauty Easy Bake loose powder. The pressed powder that I want to use is this beauty here. This is from the brand Besame, and it's actually from their Marilyn Monroe collection. I did go ahead and pick up, let's see, the name of the set is the Red Carpet Compact and a Lipstick Set. The set comes with a red lipstick as well as this powder, and this is just so beautiful. This is the reason why I wanted this set, because unfortunately they didn't sell any of the products individually. I'm not sure why Besame went that route. They pretty much only did bundles, but I was actually okay with this, and I had not tried any of their lipstick formulas. Actually, I hadn't tried anything from the brand, but I did want to try their lipstick, so I thought it was like the perfect little set for me to get for myself. I do like the lipstick. I'll talk about that maybe in another video because I don't have it down here with me, but this was like the main motivation for me to get the actual, this little bundle. So this is how the compact looks. It's a very weighty, and it is the refillable metal compact with the silver screen powders. It says a translucent powder to set makeup and blur fine lines and pores. Finely milled, this lightweight powder blends flawlessly and leaves your skin ready for the red carpet. It's inspired by a compact from Marilyn Monroe's personal collection. Let's go ahead and apply some of this. Let me swatch it for you guys. I have not used this yet, but I feel as if, yeah, it gives almost like this pearlescent finish. So that's what I was saying earlier. I think this is going to be a little bit of a brightening powder. Just using the brush I had used earlier, I'm going to apply it right here where I would like to have a little bit more brightness kind of pop through here. It's actually not as brightening as I thought it might be, which is fine because I thought it was going to be kind of that glowy brightening, not so much in the shade. And I prefer just a brightening but not a glowing type of powder. Oh yeah, and that looks really pretty on the pores as well. So this side doesn't have anything, this does. Like I said, I've never used anything from them before, so I'm not sure how their other powders perform, but this here performs so beautifully. And I love when the product matches its beautiful compact. So I'm actually quite impressed with this. Granted, I just used it right now for the very first time, but I think it looks so, so pretty. My skin there looks really, really good. All right, so that is a hit so far as first impressions. Let's move on to some highlight. All right, so I'm going to start getting into the Bobbi Brown Glowing Pink collection. I actually released a lot of pieces for this collection, but I only picked up a few things. Only one of the products that I picked up is actual limited edition. The other products, the packaging is limited edition, but they actually already exist within the brand. So starting off with the highlighter, I picked up the mini, and this is the Pink Glow highlighter. So this is one of those products that already exists in the Bobbi Brown line. From my understanding, this is actually their best seller. So this is what kind of motivated the brand to create this collection, was this specific highlighter. So this one does come in two sizes. This specific one is the mini, and that is how it looks inside. So it's this gel to powder formula. It does feel a little cushiony, just as described, and it's supposed to be kind of a lit from within type of highlighter. So that actually looks really, really beautiful. Pick some of this up, and I do want to avoid that big old pimple I got there. I'm not sure how it looks on camera here, but it's a very light, I mean, I think like a true lit from within type of highlighter. So I actually enjoy these much more. As of right now, it's giving me a very light glow to the skin, but it looks good. It looks healthy and natural. So I can appreciate that. I feel like the color though, honestly, I was expecting to see a little bit more pink out of this. In my swatch here, I feel like I see like a hint of pinkness, not a lot. There is though some sparkle I'm detecting there, and I'm not the biggest fan of that, but on the skin, at least indoors, it's not very noticeable. That though might be a little bit different once I go outside. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this highlighter is fine. It's not very sparkly, and then I leave my house and I just feel like I'm a glitter bomb. I do not like sparkle on my face like that, but right now I'm making an exception because this does look really pretty. So okay, usually after I do my highlighter, I like to bronze, so let's go ahead and do some bronzing. And I do have a new bronzer I'm also going to be using for the first time today, and it's the new bronzer from Victoria Beckham. This is called the Matte Bronzing Brick, and I picked up the shade 2, and it comes with the warm shade called Soleil and the contour shade called Honey. Actually, before I open this up, let me show you guys the actual packaging. It matches her eyeshadow palette perfectly, just of course a bigger size. It is very weighty. When you look at it, it looks beautiful and luxurious. Again, just like all her other products, but I do have a little issue with this packaging. Again, I have not yet used a product, so I'm not talking about the bronzer itself. Strictly on the packaging, I am extremely disappointed with how this looks, how this feels, and I feel very sad about this, honestly. All right, so first of all, this here, I mean, I would have forgiven. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. There's a little mark there on the side. I would forgive that if that's the only thing there. Though I do find little imperfections like that quite annoying, especially when I have a brand new product. Originally, I wouldn't make a big deal out of that. I probably would have never even mentioned it, but the fact that besides looking and holding on this compact, on this product, everything else seems very cheap. So to open it, you're supposed to just press here where the clasp is and, you know, just open it nicely. Usually I have to dig my finger in between because it kind of gets stuck. So see, like I pressed it, it's not opening, so I have to put my nail in between. Okay, to get it open. And that is how the bronzer looks. So if you just take a quick look at this, even just I think from far away, it looks fine. But it's going to be really hard for me to show you guys because of where the mirror is, but I do not like how the mirror kind of is synced in here and the actual edge of the compact here, the sides are sticking up. And then up here, it just looks like this was not assembled properly. It looks like this also causes this back part to not bend as easily as it should. This is something that you'll have to see up close to really notice what I'm talking about, but take my word for it, you guys. This packaging was done very poorly. So I know that the brand is now aware of this situation. So my only recommendation to you guys, if you don't have it yet, but you do want to get it, is just to hold off a little bit longer. I mean, I would hope that they would fix this issue that is very well known now. And by the time you go ahead and order yours, there is a less likelihood for yours to arrive damaged. But I think honestly, this production, it was just not built properly. So anyway, that's kind of my little rant on the packaging of this. I'm just extremely upset with it. Let me just move on. So anyway, let me show you guys swatches of these. This is shade 2, which is described as a warm tan duo. And you get 2 highlighters in here. There's a lighter highlighter, I meant to say bronzer. There's a lighter bronzer that's recommended to be used as your actual bronzer. So this right here is, so this one here is the lighter one. And then this one, this swatch was really weird. Then this one right here is actually the warm, deeper bronzer. I find that this looks a little bit too warm to use as a contour. And I say contour because that's how they describe this shade to be. It is to sculpt and define your face, whereas the other one is to give you that sun-kissed, like actual bronzed look. So that is how I'm going to use it today, how it's recommended. But to tell you guys the truth, I more so see myself maybe just mixing these 2 shades and using it that way. But it's at least nice to have both, because to me, I honestly, just looking at this, I would never think this is a bronzer contour duo. I would just look at this as a strict bronzer with 2 shades to kind of customize it because of how warm it actually is. But that's just my opinion. I'm very much of a stickler when it comes to shades for contouring. If it is meant to be used as a contour, it needs to be a cool tone. Otherwise, I don't want you to call it a contour. But again, that's just me just being a stickler about it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bronze first, just how it says to do. So this is the lighter shade. And this color, it looks really pretty. Even when I swatched it, I thought, okay, for a bronzer, this is a really nice shade. And now that I'm applying it on the face, it does look really nice, definitely on the warm side. A little bit orangey, just like a hint of it. So I'm okay with that. I do have a limit with how orange I allow my bronzers to be, and I kind of feel like this might be leaning a little bit to orange based off of the swatch that I did, but you know, we'll see on the face how that looks, especially if I use it to contour with. So normally I contour and then I bronze, but like I said, I'm trying to follow their instructions on how to apply this. And now I'm wondering, what do you guys do first? Do you bronze before your contour, or do you do it like me? Contour before bronzing? Because I always feel like it's really easy for me to go in too harsh with my contour. So when I go in with my bronzer, I can soften up that contour a little, but maybe this is the better way of doing it. Just gonna go over that. And now I'm actually gonna use my Wayne Goss number 12 brush, and I'm gonna go into the deeper shade in here. And this powder is very soft even to the touch. There is a little bit of kick up there, so you can see how it's very, very finely milled. I mean, this is an extremely soft powder. So I guess like talking about like in the bronzing world, this is actually not bad as a contour. So maybe this isn't so much supposed to be like too properly contour. It's more of that bronzer type of kind of shade that I guess you end up getting with this, because I'm kind of liking it. Like, I'm digging this. Like, this to me is perfect for a bronzed look. You know what, guys? I'm actually quite impressed with this. I'm very happy with it. I was allowing my negative attitude towards the compact to kind of start making me feel like I don't even care about the bronzer, although I hadn't even tried it yet. But I was kind of coming in with a very negative headspace, which, you know, I really try not to do. I don't like when I catch myself doing that. I mean, like I said already, I'm just very disappointed in the actual packaging. But as far as first impressions on the bronzer, I think this looks really good. Very, very good. All right, so I don't have a new blush. Actually, what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna layer my blushes today. So this one is newer. I don't know if I've showed it to you guys yet, but it's from Hourglass. It's their Vanish blush sticks. The shade I have is Devoted. And as I'm saying that out loud, I just remembered I did a short swatching all of the three Vanish blushes that I picked up from Hourglass. So I'm gonna apply this with a brush, and then I'm gonna go in with a powder brush that I really want to layer over this. So just with a brush here, I'm picking some up directly from the bullet. I do find that these are a little bit drier than the Westman Atelier blushes. So for these specifically, or especially, I like to go in with a brush first, like to pick up some product and then apply it instead of going in directly with the stick. I figured out that this works best if I just go in like this. And alone, it looks really pretty. But I'm going to go out and, although I do find that this wears really well with a mask, you know, I just want to double down on it. I want to make sure that my blush stays on, and I also want to really use this blush because I have not shown this to you guys, and I've had it for a few months. I actually bought this to do another video, like for a series that I've been thinking about for a while, but I'm really bad with sticking with series. So this is from Sisley, and it is their L'Orchidee Rose 2, which is their highlighter and blush with White Lily. You guys, how beautiful, I mean stunning is this blush? I have been wanting this for so long. There are two other shades that I am now itching to get into my collection because I'm so very obsessed with this. Not only does this look gorgeous on the compact, but it looks so beautiful on the skin as well. I do go in pretty heavily. Gosh, this is so beautiful. They have a coral shade, which I really want. I think I'm gonna pick that one up next. And then another shade, it looks a little bit like a light brown, kind of like a tannish, but I'm not really sure actually what shade that is, but I'm gonna get that too at some point. Next though will be that coral one. I mean, it just really brought life to my face. So I do have a new eyeshadow palette I'll be using today. This is part of the Pink Glowing collection from Bobbi Brown. It's called the Pink Glow Luxe eyeshadow palette. Now, I did go ahead and pick up a few months ago actually, or semi-recently, the Luxe eyeshadow quad. So this is the original one. I believe all of these shades belong to the Bobbi Brown Luxe eyeshadow collection that are sold individually. But from this new palette, I couldn't find most of these shades online, so a few of them might be new, but do not hold me on that because I'm not too sure. I did try to look, I didn't find any except for one, which is Metal Rose, and it's this one right here. Now, it's a little bit upsetting because Metal Rose is also in this palette, so I kind of wish they didn't do that. I do not like when brands do that. But you know, somebody like me that did pick this up and really enjoyed it, I of course had to pick up the new limited edition one, by the way. These are both, I think this one as well was limited edition. The packaging of this I think is really pretty overall. It's quite thick, but I personally don't mind, but it is a little bit bulky. It has a nice sizable mirror, and this is the inside. It does bug me that there's a lot of space around these eyeshadows. We could have made it a little bit smaller and, you know, kept the eyeshadows the same size, but you know, brands do what they do sometimes without thinking. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, let me show you guys some swatches because I've only swatched these. Now, this does have a mixture of metallic, sparkly, and the luster. That right there are the swatches. I had seen online that this was compared to the Tom Ford Frost palette. I'm a little bit upset about that because I actually am one of the few people that did not enjoy that palette. That's one of my well, it actually is my least favorite palette from my Tom Ford collection. But you know, we'll see maybe with this formula. It's definitely not as metallic as those Tom Ford shadows are, but still, like, the tones actually do look quite similar. It was Angela Van Rose who had mentioned that this is very similar to that Tom Ford Frost palette. So we'll see how on me I prefer this. I'm gonna go in with a bigger brush. This is the Wayne Goss number 16, and I'm gonna pick up this shade here. So I find that palettes like this, especially this shade, because it is the deeper shade, looks really pretty as a one shadow look. But to use the whole palette as one look, it's not really my favorite. And I'm saying more so with like that Luxe palette. I just find that these will perform so much better if combined with another or with some other shadows. So I'm just kind of applying that, and then I'll go in and do a little bit of blending. These eyeshadows are perfect like for the summertime, kind of like with a nice dewy look. I feel like right now the way that my cheek looks, it looks really nice with this type of eyeshadow formula. I think it kind of all ties in together really nicely. So I hope the final look does justice for all these products being used together. With the same brush, I'm gonna go into this shade here. That one is called Pink Pearl. This is going to go all over the rest of the lid here, up to the crease. And then I'll just blend that crease. Wow, that alone looks really pretty. Let's go ahead and add some sparkle actually. And with the same brush, no need to get any more dirty. This Sunstone shade, so this is a sparkle. I'm gonna just apply this on the lid. That looks pretty. Now I kind of want to use my first Frost palette from Tom Ford. Was I too harsh with it? I really did not like that palette. But I like this one a lot. Let me know, guys. I could do like a shorts or even a reels using both palettes side by side. I really like that sparkle. I'm surprised at how much I'm actually liking this with just using this palette. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of times that I do, like for me, New Dip from Tom Ford, another wet to dry type of formula. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned, these can be used wet as well. I don't like to use my eyeshadows wet, so I don't do that, but just an FYI. So anyway, that Nude Dip, I like to use that palette on its own, but I do have other palettes that have a very similar formula as these that I just don't feel like I can get away with as a standalone palette. So it really does vary on the palettes for me and not so much on just the formulas that a palette has. So I just wanted to point that out in case you guys have heard me say that about other palettes where I don't need a matte. Yeah, I do feel like that with honestly the majority of my palettes actually, but that's just not always the case. But I am happy to say that it's actually turning out really well with this palette as a standalone. All right, so this is that opal shade. Now back with Metal Rose, I'm going to define my bottom lash line. With a tiny detail brush, I'm picking up some of my Cocoa Shadow. This is from Laura Mercier's, one of her Caviar sticks. I'm just going to use a little bit of this right against the lash line. I don't want it to be too deep, so that's why I'm not using like a gel liner or anything like that. And I don't want to risk getting any fallout, so instead of using actual eyeshadow, using these sticks with a brush works really nicely. And let me define the top lash line a little as well. Final verdict on the eyeshadow palette, I think it's beautiful. I'm very happy with it so far. I did go ahead and add on some mascara. I used my Volume de Chanel mascara in black. And now to finish off the lips, I do have one last product that I picked up from the limited edition Bobbi Brown collection, and it's the Extra Lip Tint in the shade Bare Pink. Now this, I think, also already existed in the Bobbi Brown collection, but I did not have this shade, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. I do have one of these. I think it's in the shade Coral. It's very pretty. This is full. Actually, let me show you guys the packaging because it's limited edition for the packaging, and it's just this really cute pink, like pearlized pink packaging. Very pretty. Love it. And then open it up. And this I already did apply because I just could not help myself when I opened it up the first time. And honestly, it doesn't have too much of a tint to it, like very light. It is called Barely Pink, so pretty accurate to its name. I'm sorry, it's not Barely Pink, it's Bare Pink is the name of the shade. So this is full of natural oils that's going to help hydrate your lips. And it adds a nice little, it's like a sheer tint because it's extremely light, but the lips look very healthy. And I think this is really pretty. For me though, this is not going to be one of those lip products that I'm going to leave on my vanity. I really don't see myself reaching for this when I'm creating a makeup look to kind of finish off the look. No, not really, because this it's almost like a clear gloss or like a lightly tinted clear gloss, except it's much more comfortable because it is a balmy hydrating formula. So because of all of that, this is something that I would just throw in my purse to kind of apply throughout the day if I'm out and about and maybe the lipstick that I put on initially has already worn off. Then I do like to use products that are very easy to apply kind of on the go. So this is something that I'm happy to have and I will use, but is it an absolute necessity? No. Alright guys, those are all the products that I had to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. And while you're there, if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time.